This is Aldous Huxley, a man haunted by a vision of hell on earth. A searing social critic, Mr. Huxley, 27 years ago, wrote Brave New World, a novel that predicted that someday the entire world would live under a frightful dictatorship. Today, Mr. Huxley says that his fictional world of horror is probably just around the corner for all of us.
Stones in my pocket, powder on the scale. Pistol on my waist, I'm on my way to jail. Yo, live from the corner of truth and contradiction. This is 61st and Peoria. What it do? It's your boy 61P, and tonight we're going to talk about something that runs deeper than ink on paper or codes in the street. We're talking verbal law versus written law. So tune in with me. Like I said once before, see, where I come from, your word is your bond. Verbal law, it ain't got no signature, no notary stamp, no none of that. But it's the law. And the law is all the same. It's in the way you shake a man's hand, look him in the eye and say, I got you. That ain't no small thing in the hood, man. That's currency. That's a contract. Even if the courts don't recognize it. You don't snitch, not because it's illegal, but because the code says you don't. You don't front on your peoples, not because of fear, but because of respect is the foundation. Let me say it again. You don't front on your folks, your peoples, not because of fear, but because respect is the foundation. Take that to the neck, straight like that. You pay who you owe, even if it's just $5, because that $5 might have been the thread holding your name together in these streets. Man, he ain't lying about that, yeah? Yeah, straight to the neck. Ain't no written clause for loyalty. Ain't no rule book for honor. But if you break those codes, you find out real quick that verbal law carries real consequences. Now, on the flip side, we got the system, and the system don't care about nothing about what was said, right? To them, if it ain't in writing, it never happened. They want the contract, they want that paperwork, boy. They want it typed, signed, sealed, and filled. You dig? You can't tell a landlord you'll have the rent tomorrow. But if you ain't paid by 5 p.m. today, the eviction papers are already printing. You can't promise a record label your mixtape will move numbers. But if it ain't in the contract, you're just another voice in the void. The courtroom don't want your story, bruh. They want your receipts. And trust me, those written orders, they were never written for us. See, Jim Crow was legal. Segregation was law. Redining? Backed by the government policy? Man, we've been on the wrong end of the written orders since they just flipped the feather in the ink, you dig? Man, not even flip. They dipped. So what's happening when verbal law and written order collide? You might say, that's my partner. We've been boys for years, but the paperwork got him saying you did it. You might have had a verbal agreement for a house, a hustle, a vision, but if it ain't on paper, it's a dream deferred, bruh. In the courts, shit. Excuse my language, but they'll take a man's verbal testimony to convict you, but won't honor your verbal promise to prove innocent. And that's the cold part. One world lives in whispers, street corners, and old heads. The other world lives in courtrooms, cubicles, and case numbers. Both of them got power. Once again, both of them got power. Excuse me. But here's the catch. Verbal law gets you respect, written order gets you protected. And if you ain't got both, you walking a tightrope with no net. So we got to learn to write it down while still standing on that word. We ain't got to bring street principles in the boardrooms, none of that stuff like that. And legal awareness back to the block, because too many of us are losing in the fine print while still dying by codes that ain't even been printed. This was episode whatever you want to call it. But for me, it's more like a warning shot in the dark. Because in this game, one word can save you. One signature can end you. And the truth, it lives somewhere in between. Stay sharp, stay honest. And always remember, Some contracts are silent, but the consequences speak volumes. This is 61 Peoria Robotic DJ, live from 61st in Peoria, and we ain't never just talking. We documenting history, and I'll see you on the next episode. Deuces. Make sure you get up with me, 61P, the Robotic DJ, and live from 61st in Peoria. Straight up.